And now for something completely different.
Forget everything you've been told by others before. Get ready for the real deal, the full story. Real talk about money, markets, life. Now, it's The Real Investment Show with Lance Roberts, presented by RIA Advisors.
And good morning and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Lance Roberts, of course, for The Real Investment Show. And it is Hump Day. And unfortunately, as we talked about yesterday, if you're watching our live stream, I got a lot of emails yesterday. It's like, are you off the air? No, yeah, technically we are off the air right now. The radio station we broadcast on is out of commission till hopefully maybe just later on today.
Maybe tomorrow,
right?
yeah.
So the interesting news about that is I want to talk to you about something this morning that I couldn't say if we were actually on the radio station, because if we were on the radio station, it's very conservative, right-wing, Republican station. I am about as fiscally conservative as you're going to find. Patriotic. I'm a gun-toting American. I got a whole closet full of guns. I own, look, I believe in America and capitalism and apple pie and mom and, that's me, right? Christian values, that is who I am down to the core. And, I listen to these conservatives on radio, and it's so interesting because they are now wrapped up in this whole meme about communist China. Communist China. Communist China. Those damn commies, boy. It sounds like we've got McCarthyism all starting over in America now, as everything is about commie China. Boy, don't mess with those commies. Don't spend your money in communist China. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. You are about this far away, and since you're watching a stream, I don't have to describe this. You're about this far away from being communist America. What is communism? Communism is when the government tells you to do things, and you don't have a choice. Communism is a state-run country. It is where the government dictates what you do, where you go, how you do things. Let's talk about America for a moment. The government just told you that you had to stay locked in your house for the last month and a half for your own good. Maybe that's the case, but that's not the point. The point is the government told you under order of mandate that you could not leave your house or be penalized. There was even threats of jail time if you were caught out socially mingling with other individuals. You could be put in jail for that. Communist China also tells you what you must do, right? We just told businesses all across this country they had to shut down. We're a capitalist society, right? We're supposed to be a capitalist country, which means that as individuals, we have the right to run our businesses and to build our businesses. But yet the government just told us we couldn't do it. Okay, well, yeah, that was for our own good. Okay. You know what else Communist China does? Communist China tracks their population. They know where they go, what they do, who they talk to, who they socially talk to on the internet, what they see on the internet. We just passed a bill, or the House Democrats just passed a bill that says they want to apply about $50 billion to contact tracing. What is that? Well, that's basically an app on your phone that tracks who you've been in contact with. And of course, after that, then they can go back, and if you come down with symptoms, then they can go back in your phone and contact all the other people that you've been in contact with because of the GPS location on your phone. That's contact tracing. All the people you've been in touch with. Which means they also have the data of everything you've done, everywhere you've been, and what you've been doing. Of course, we've been doing this for quite some time anyway. The government's been tracking you now for the last several years. Right, through metadata and all this stuff. And they say, oh, don't worry, it's all for your own good. We only track this information to protect you from yourself, right? Because we have all these external national threats that we've got to be careful of, right? Terrorism and all this other stuff. Maybe that's the case. That's what we're told anyway. See, we're told that in America, that all these rights that we have given up for either convenience or for national security is in our all best interest. Right? See, we're not smart enough to do these things ourselves, but the government needs to do this for us, right? The government needs to make sure that we're taken care of and that we're protected. That's what China does. It's exactly what China does. It's what communism is. Communism is a state-run, state-funded society. And we're gradually moving in that direction, but yet it's interesting to listen to all these conservatives on radio railing against communist China. Oh, they're such bad people. The stuff that they're doing in their country is not so far and away different than what we do in our country. Oh, they're China. Boy, communist China. They're currency manipulators. We've been manipulating the U.S. dollar since 1900. Every country does. We manipulate our currency to make sure that we've got the best advantage for our country. They're doing the exact same thing. Look, I'm not supporting communism. Don't get me wrong. What I'm saying is that very quietly in the background, the things that we have agreed to allow our government to do is leading us down the path towards both communism or /socialism. We just almost put a socialist up on the national stage for president of the United States. He ran twice, almost got nominated twice, Bernie Sanders. If you don't think we're heading towards socialism, socialism and communism are not that far apart. If you don't think we're headed there, you're sorely mistaken. And it's just interesting to listen to these conservative commentators who, individuals buy into hook, line, and sinker, who don't know anything in a lot of cases about how economics actually work, about how politics actually work to a great degree, but more importantly, don't understand the direction of this country. We support these things that the government does in terms of these spending bills. It's terrible. This is the worst thing. What the Federal Reserve is doing right now, what the government is doing, and everybody buys into this like, oh, well, the government has to do this, right? The government's got to send us all this money. We've got to have these monthly paychecks. We've got to have this because, if we don't do that, boy, the poor average Joe, they're just going to be out on the street. The problem is that we have become more and more dependent upon government for self-sufficiency over the last 30 years. The amount of income, disposable personal income made up by government transfers is at the highest level on record ever, and that was even before the COVID crisis. 1 out of 4 families before the crisis were dependent upon the government for almost the entirety of their income. 25% of the entire population had some form of government subsidy that supported their incomes. That's socialism. These are the things that we're allowing to do. If we all want to have prosperity, we all want capitalism to work, we all want to be free, right? These are the things that we do. These are the things that we want. We want capitalism to be the foundation of our country. We want capitalism to provide for, just as it did for the greatest generation, we want capitalism to provide for our future generations as well, but yet doing everything possible to erode the ability for capitalism to work. And what the Federal Reserve is doing is destroying capitalism entirely.
Get daily investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet. Sign up for Lance's newsletter now at lancerobertshow.com.